Today, I'd like to talk about two things. One, the Japanese, and two, Powell's speech. Let's do Powell first. Powell just spoke, or he's still speaking, I don't know. And basically, he said that he believes it's now time for the Fed to change its direction, okay? So everyone's looking for a September cut. Fact is, the markets have already built in 350 basis points cuts for 3 consecutive months, okay? Whether it happens or not, we don't know. When you read through the comments and then all the comments being mentioned by Bostic and so forth, I would say, in my point of view, the Fed is split on inflation, but they kind of agree on the employment number, but not entirely. They feel the employment is in a good spot, but they want to keep it in the good spot. All the comments on inflation is they believe it's going in the right direction, so everything should be okay. But again, we're only thinking about ourselves in a vacuum, that we act and that's the end of it. But we also have other issues that we're facing. Now, the head of the BOG yesterday went to a question and answer with, I think, the lower house of the Japanese, and I think today he does another 2.5 hour with the upper house. And the thing that gets me is that he says the global markets are unstable, and we all experienced that ourselves a couple Fridays ago when the Japanese raised their rates. So remember something, people are on different tracks than we are, and yet our financials are intertwined. So when you look and you say, well, what's going on in Japan? Well, while he was speaking yesterday, their inflation rate came out at 2.8%. Now their 10-year bond is at 90 basis points, and their short-term rates are at 25 bips. So think about it. You minus, your inflation rate from your interest rates to get your real yield. And so that means the real yield in Japan is negative, highly negative, okay? And he reflects in his talks yesterday that they will continue to monitor market developments with a very high sense of urgency. So obviously the head of the BOJ does not believe that this is over by a long shot. But Japan has their own issues. You have to remember something. They've been in a deflationary economy for over 20 years. 17 years they had as negative interest rates. 17 years negative interest rate. So they have this thing of where, and he says here, that they're not ready to officially declare the end to deflation. After 22 years, I don't blame them, okay? So their issue is that they don't want to go into deflation, so they're inflating, but if the inflation gets too high, they're going to have to raise their interest rates. If they raise their interest rates, then they're going to really whack out their annual deficits because, as we said before, they are so highly in debt, 140% of GDP, that a 1% raise in interest rates doubles their annual debt, okay? That's a lot. They don't want that to happen. So people are looking at this unwinding of the carry trade that we had that day, and they're saying that this instability was caused by, one, was the U.S. going into a recession, and anyone watched our video the other day, there's certainly no signs of that. And then, what was Japan going to do with their interest rates? So the yen during that period went up to 161. It's back down to 145 today. So what happens with them? So this was the point of yesterday's video, in the sense that, can we lower the interest rates in a highly volatile global market? Is that what the world is looking for? Okay, if they are, then we're in good shape. But let's say they're not, and then what happens, right? And you have to remember, you have to put this in context for us. The Japanese have been in a deflationary environment, okay? And we, on the other hand, have had a totally different kind of economy. Actually, Japan's different than everybody in the world, okay? So we have a different kind of economy. But the carry trade actually kind of like melds the two economies' financial systems together, okay? Along with the Europeans and everybody else, because everyone does the carry trade. So what happens here when and if we cut the interest rates? Now, Bostic just came out and said that he feels the next move will be between 0 and 50 basis points. So what do you think the Fed's going to do in September? Is it going to be 0, 25, or 50? But the really important question is if we do cut, what happens? I don't think much is going to happen if we do cut. I just don't believe it, okay? The biggest thing I think is going to happen is the 10-year bond's going to go up in yield, all right? A lot. And that means mortgages are going to go, because that's how mortgages are priced. So we shall see. The money flows of the world flow without our permission, okay? So we have to be very careful on what we actually do. Like and follow, and please give me your comments.